Imagine dragging yourself home after a brutal 12-hour shift at the hospital only to find a giant SUV blocking your driveway. Hungry, exhausted, holding bags of cold takeout, and the guy next door just shrugs it off like it's no big deal. That's when I decided enough was enough and delivered the kind of justice he never saw coming. Imagine dragging yourself home after a brutal 12-hour shift at the hospital, only to find a giant SUV blocking your driveway. Hungry, exhausted, holding bags of cold takeout, and the guy next door just shrugs it off like it's no big deal. That's when I decided enough was enough and delivered the kind of justice he never saw coming. I live in a quiet little cul-de-sac. Nothing fancy, just one of those average neighborhoods where everyone kind of keeps to themselves. My driveway fits exactly 2 cars, mine and my husband's. Perfect. That's all we need. And for the most part, everyone respected that unspoken rule of, your driveway is your driveway. Everyone except my neighbor. Let's call him Jack. At first, it seemed innocent. The very first time I noticed a strange car in my driveway, Jack waved me over with that casual grin of his and said, "Oh, that's my brother's car. He'll only be a sec." I let it slide. We all want to be good neighbors, right? Nobody wants tension on their own street. But then it happened again. This time, it was a friend of his just dropping something off. Same smile, same dismissive tone. I didn't like it, but I swallowed it. Why? Because that's what so many of us do. We tell ourselves, don't make a big deal out of it. Don't be that neighbor. But that, not a big deal, became a pattern. Week after week, I'd come home from a draining shift at the hospital, my feet aching, my brain fried, sometimes with my scrubs still damp from the sweat of a 12-hour day. And I'd find some random vehicle blocking me out of my own property. One night it was especially bad. His buddy had parked a massive truck right across the driveway. I had 5 heavy grocery bags cutting into my arms, and instead of pulling into my own home, I had to leave my car halfway down the street. I trudged back in the dark, juggling bags like I was in some cruel circus act. And every single time I confronted Jack, he gave me that same smug, half-hearted apology. "Oh yeah, sorry, they'll be gone soon." The way he said it, like I was the one overreacting. Like my driveway was some community parking lot. And if you've ever been in that situation, you know the frustration isn't just about the car. It's about the disrespect. The way someone makes you feel small in your own space. But the final straw came on a Friday night. I had just finished another brutal 12-hour shift. I was starving. I'd swung by to grab some takeout, and the smell of hot food filled my car. All I wanted was to pull into my driveway, kick my shoes off, and finally relax. But when I turned the corner, my heart dropped. A giant white SUV was sitting dead center in my driveway. Not pulled off to the side, not angled politely, just bold and brazen, blocking my space like it was their personal parking garage. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. My food was cooling beside me, and I just sat there staring, my exhaustion turning into a simmering anger. I marched up to Jack's door and knocked. No answer. I called his phone, and when he finally picked up, his tone nearly made me lose it. "Oh yeah, that's my in-laws. They'll only be there a couple hours. Just park on the street. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal." In that moment, something inside me snapped. All the late nights, all the extra bags, all the dismissive smirks, it came boiling to the surface. So I did what I should have done months ago. I called a tow truck. Now, I wasn't reckless. I'd already done my homework. In my area, if someone blocks your private driveway, you have every legal right to tow. No warning, no waiting. Just dial the number and watch justice roll in on 4 wheels. The tow truck driver showed up faster than I expected. 20 minutes flat. By the time I had eaten half my fries, that big white SUV was hooked up and gone. For the first time in months, I felt relief. But, oh, the storm that followed. An hour later, pounding rattled my front door. Jack stood there, his face redder than a tomato, with his in-laws yelling in the background. He barked at me. "You didn't have to take it that far." I looked him straight in the eye and said, "You told me it wasn't a big deal." So I treated it like it wasn't a big deal. And then I closed the door. His in-laws had to fork over nearly $300 to get their SUV back. And do you know what? Since that night, my driveway has been as clear as a freshly paved road. Not once, not for a brother, not for a friend, not even for just a sec. Turns out, when people hit consequences in the wallet, they suddenly learn respect. There's something deeply satisfying about that moment. It wasn't about revenge for revenge's sake. It was about finally reclaiming my space, my dignity. Jack could ignore my words. He could shrug off my frustration. But he couldn't ignore a 300 fine and an SUV vanishing in the middle of the night. And the best part, I didn't yell. I didn't fight. I didn't sink to his level. I let the law do the talking. Justice, clean and simple. At the end of the day, it's not about driveways or parking spots. It's about boundaries. When people repeatedly cross them, you have every right to draw the line. Sometimes, the sweetest revenge is simply enforcing the respect you should have had all along. So, what do you think? Was towing the SUV the right move? Or would you have handled it differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your revenge stories too. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more jaw-dropping tales of justice, and share it with a friend who knows the pain of a bad neighbor. Until next time, stay strong and never let anyone take your space for granted.